Geometry Chapter 3 Study Guide. Question 1. Which angles are corresponding angles? And you just go through the list and you decide whether that pair is corresponding or not. 8 and 16, are they corresponding? Yes, that is your answer. Let's talk about the other answer choices, even though they're not right. 7 and 8. What can you call 7 and 8? Linear pair. They are side by side and they make a straight line. B, that was B. C, 4 and 8. They are vertical. Okay? Question 2. Which of the following is the correct two-column proof? Well, let's just go through. We just have to go through the reasons and decide whether we think it's correct or incorrect. The given information is that A is parallel to B. And the first one says A is parallel to B given, so that one is good. And the second one starts off with the same thing, so it's good. And the third one is good. So far, I cannot eliminate anything. Next, it says angle Q and angle R are congruent because they are vertical angles. That is true. Number 2, on the second one, says Q and W. Q and W are congruent because they're corresponding. That is false. So that whole thing's gone. Once you find a problem with it, you throw it out. Q and R are congruent because they're vertical. So far, I'm going back and forth between the first one and the third one. R and T are supplementary because they are same side interior angles. That's true. S and W are supplementary because they're alternate interior. Throw that one out. So I'm done with that one. Now I have to be sure there's no fault in A because none of these is an answer choice. So let me check the last two. T and W are congruent because they're vertical angles. That is true. So Q and W are supplementary by substitution. Here's the logic. Q and R are congruent. R and T are supplementary. T and W are congruent. Well, I can replace congruent items with congruent items, which allows me to use the W in place of the T and the Q in place of the R. So I've substituted. So my answer here is A. Next, number 3. Line R is parallel to line T. Find the measure of angle 5. Well, y'all know when there's parallel lines cut by a transversal, there are two sizes of angles. One angle's given, it's 132. The angle adjacent to it, on either side, whichever way you want to go, is supplementary to it. 132 and angle 3 make a straight line. What's the supplement to 132? What's 180 minus 132? Is it 48? Okay. So this is 48. So I've got 132 on every single one of these angles, and I've got 48 on every single one of these angles. And which angle are they asking me about? 5, and it's 132. The diagram of the airport runway intersections shows two parallel runways. A taxiway crosses both. How are 5 and 4 related?
It's A.
They are alternate interior angles. You turn it this way, there's 5 and there's 4. They're on alternate sides of the transversal and the interior of the two parallel lines. Number 5 is another proof. Which is a correct two-column proof for the following? So let's just start. Given H and C are complementary. Let's see. This is true. This is true. And this is true. So I can't eliminate anything yet. H is congruent to E because they are vertical angles. That is true. H is congruent to E because they're alternate interior. That is false. So I got to throw that one out. H is congruent to E because they're vertical. That is true. E and C are supplementary because of substitution. H and C are supplementary. H and E are congruent. So can I take the E and use it in place of the H? Yes, that's called substitution. E and C are supplementary because they're same side interior angles. We haven't proved that yet. We're trying to prove the lines are parallel. I would probably take either A or C on that one. Didn't I tell y'all that yesterday? But the truth of the matter is, you have to prove the lines are parallel before you can prove they're same side. I'm not going to go back on my word, but I just want you to know the reason that A is the one that is most correct. Okay. Number 6. Measure of angle 1 is 8x. The measure of angle 3 is 104. It says find the value of x for these lines to be parallel. If these lines are parallel, then these two angles are going to be congruent because they are corresponding, which would make 8x equal 104. Divide by 8. What do we get? 13. Answer choice is A. 7. Find the value of k. Did you find that answer? What'd you get? A. Just subtract those two angles from 180. Number 8. Which one did you find first in number 8? X. Because you know it has to go with the other two to make a triangle. What did you find x to be? You did 180 minus 44 minus 57. You got 79. X is 79. Well, if x is 79, I can eliminate those two. X is 79. Okay. If x is 79, tell me what you know about z that's right beside it. They have to add up to be 180. So 79 plus z is 180. So that puts z at what? Z is 101. Okay? Then what about y? 101 plus 12 plus subtracted from 180. 67. So which one is my answer choice here? C. Number 9, classify the triangle by its sides.
Equilateral.
Very good. 10. The folding chair has different settings that change the angles formed by its parts. Suppose the measure of angle 2 is 28. The measure of angle 3 is 78. Find the measure of angle 1. Well, 2 and 3 together add up to be 106. And if you do 180 minus 106, you get 74. So this angle in here is 74. And angle 1 is supplementary to that. So what does that mean that angle 1 has to be? 106. Remember the remote angles theorem? We had a theorem that said the exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. That's what they want you to use there. If you forget that theorem, you still know enough about triangles to figure out that answer. 11, which is a convex polygon. C. 12, find the missing angle measures. What'd you find first here? So what'd you get? Y is 63. I see it there. Let's go on and find x, even though you know the right answer without doing that. What do all four of those inside have to add up to be? 360. So 113 and 73 and 63 and x have to be 360. So 249 plus x is 360. So what does that leave me for x? 111. Number 11. No. Number 13. Number 13. The jewelry box has the shape of a regular pentagon. What's that word regular mean?
All angles are equal.
And all sides. All sides and all angles. It's packaged in a rectangular box as shown. The box uses two pairs of congruent right triangles. They're telling you that this and this are congruent to each other to fill its corners. Find the measure of the foam angle marked. Okay. First, you have to find the measure of every angle inside the pentagon. How do you do that?
Well, you got to figure out that first, the degree of angles in there is 540.
Okay. N minus 2 times 180 will tell me how many degrees are inside. And this is 5-sided. And 3 times 180 is 540. Because it's regular, every angle must be the same. Divide by 5, and what do you get? 108. So this angle is 108. X goes with that angle to make a straight line. So what does X have to be? 72. 14 says use less than, equal to, greater than to complete the statement. The sum of the measures of the exterior angles of a regular 5-gon, one at each vertex, is blank the sum of the measures of a 4-gon. That's a pentagon and a quadrilateral. Which is bigger, the sum of the pentagon angles or the sum of the quadrilateral angles?
The exterior angles.
Exterior. Oh, it says exterior. It surely does, doesn't it? What are the sum of the exterior angles? 360. How often?
Only one is square.
Every single time. Outside angles are 360 every single time. So they're equal. Doesn't matter how many sides it has. Graph y equals 3/5 x minus 2. Where do you start this graph? -2. So this one's good, this one's good, this one's not, this one's good. Your slope is 3/5. So you go up 3 over 5. Did y'all find there were 2 correct answers for this? C and D. 16. What did you have to do before you could graph number 16?
That answer's B.
Mm-hmm. So it starts at -2, goes down 1 over 3. That answer is B. Write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line. First thing you got to do is find the slope. X sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. 3 minus -8 over 3 minus 1. I get 11 over 2 for the slope. This is a -11 over 2, so I throw it out. And that says -11 over 2, so I throw it out. So I get this is my slope. I now have to find my y-intercept. To do that, I use y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Y minus -8 equals 11 over 2 times x minus 1. So this says y plus 8 equals 11 over 2x minus 11 over 2. I'm going to subtract 8. That's like subtracting 16 over 2. So that's going to make it -27 over 2, which is answer choice D. 18. Which of the lines are parallel? You got to find their slopes. Which ones did y'all find were parallel here? 1 and 2. 19. Write an equation for a line perpendicular to this line. There's your x sub 1, there's your y sub 1. What's the slope of this line that they gave you? What's the slope of that line they gave you? 7. So what is your perpendicular slope?
7.
-1/7. y
Perpendicular.
minus negative 8 equals negative 1/7 times x minus 6. Y plus 8 equals negative 1/7 x plus 6/7. Oh, that don't even take it that far. Which one?
You gotta create an equation.
And you could choose B. You don't have to do all the rearranging. Number 20. Suppose you have 4 identical pieces of wood cut like these. If B is 40 degrees, can you construct a frame with opposite sides parallel? So if we continue this piece like this, and this is 40 and this is 40, what's the corner going to add it to be? 80. Is that going to make it be, if we do the same thing over here, what's going to happen? They're going to eventually meet. So can you construct this? No. You need 45 degrees for B so that you can construct a right angle. Fireworks technician has 2 rocket launchers, each in the form of an L. One is help me get these numbers on here right. One is a 4 by 10 and one's a 6 by 15. How do I know they're parallel? I got them turned the wrong way, but let me turn this one the right way. What are their slopes? 10 over 4 and 15 over 6. Are they the same? What goes in there? 2 goes in there 5 times. 5 over 2. 5 over 2. So yes. How do I know? You can explain because they have the same slope. Given the measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 2, what can you conclude about these lines? L and M are both perpendicular to N. Because they are supplementary, if 1 and 2 add up to be 180, and they're equal to one another, you know they have to be 90. So if L is perpendicular to N and M is perpendicular to N, then L is parallel to M. So you need to say that L is perpendicular to N, M is perpendicular to N, and they're parallel to each other. Those are our conclusions.